Welcome to After the Final Bell, a podcast about what happens when an adrenaline-fueled career comes to an end and real life begins. Hosted by UFC striking coach Mike Gonzales and YouTube bounty hunter Trevor O'Connor.
It's not just about fights anymore. It's about what happens when the gloves come off.
And the real adventure begins.
Join Mike and Trevor as they chat about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Life after the final bell isn't always easy, but it's always interesting. This is After the Final Bell.
Your coach worked with you on noticing early, right? Catching these things so that you don't spiral out, so that you don't go down that rabbit hole of you know, what if I can't, fear of failure, fear of success, and you start to give yourself those reasons.
There's fear of success for me, which is the weirdest thing.
Oh, I mean, I would admit to the same thing.
Yeah, failure, no problem. Mm-hmm. And as an athlete, it's nice when a coach sees the things without saying them.
Mm-hmm. And there's a responsibility with that. So if you're going to recall and have someone pull up their trauma, I hope that you have the training to understand the risks that you're taking. Like, and also
don't compound the problem.
Right. But also for me, it's like,
please, I tell you how many conversations I have with
they want to be everything.
That don't understand. Like, they're like, well, why don't, like, I use JJ for example because it's happened with her. Like, well, why don't you just teach her everything? I'm like, because we are surrounded by people that know more than I do.
Click the join button now to become a member and gain access to all the behind-the-scenes footage, including our hilarious outtakes. Join us weekly for our members-only live podcast, but only when you click that join button.
To believe that you are the main character in everyone else's story. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'll absorb information.
I know where I need to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'll absorb information. And it was good to hear what Trevor said to him because it helped me confirm. I see, I told you. Mm-hmm. You know, and like,
I don't want to interrupt, but like that is so important as a coach.
Yeah.
The ability to like be like, see what that coach said? That's what we're talking about, rather than be like, why don't you do what I said? That's
right.
What I said.
I told you that 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you listen to me?
That ego away,
yeah. What's up, guys? I'm Mike Gonzales.
And I'm Trevor O'Connor.
This is After the Final Bell, a podcast about life after an adrenaline-fueled career has come to an end.
And real life, unfortunately, takes over.
Yeah, the fun's over. Then now just real life starts, and then what?
Now we're just paying for baby showers and grandkids' birthdays and
what else?
Probably weddings.
Weddings, yeah. Halloween's decorating outside. I mean,
Halloween's the greatest holiday that has ever happened in the world. Better than Christmas.
That one's for you, yeah.
I think Halloween.
What are you guys dressing up as?
The Addams Family this year.
Oh, that's right. You should have been Beetlejuice.
We did last year.
Oh yeah, you were big. Okay, never mind. I forgot,
dude. I was.
You were Beetlejuice.
I don't have a phone.
No, I'll have to find it.
Find it on Instagram.
Okay, I'll find it.
So we go, like Halloween, more important than the birth of Christ.
Okay. Yeah.
In this house. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the birth of Christ, obviously important. Halloween, just a little more. Okay. So we go all out. We have a huge Halloween party, like family Halloween party. I have like 19 grandkids. So it's just easier to put them all in one corral and kick them back into play.
Yeah.
But here we go.
So we full on decorate.
That's them.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Kate Miller. She's going to put a picture right here.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I are going to do couples costumes this year. We're trying to pick out which ones we're going to do. And it's kind of between, like, we were looking at like the Slinky dog, where we're both into the Slinky from Toy Story. She's really big on like fun costumes. Like we met on Halloween.
Yes.
And so I was, no, you love this.
You have to marry her. Let's call her and get engaged right now.
She's working, but
she'll answer.
She'll love this part. But we met and she was dressed as Hulk Hogan. And I was a boxing kangaroo. So specifically, like, if you remember the old Tekken games, the Roo, the red gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. I have a picture. I can probably pull a picture of it. But that's how we met each other.
That was in Punch-Out, right?
No,
Tekken.
So, yeah, Tekken, yeah. The kangaroo. Mm-hmm. My brother had like the PlayStation. And we got like remember the discs from the Pizza Hut demo discs that you would get? And it had Tekken on it.
You can still get a personal pan pizza then.
You can, yeah.
If you read if you lied about reading a bunch of books.
In high school.
Here, just sign that sign that I read.
I read 15 minutes a day, and you signed it all yourself for the last year.
Anyway, we have a guest today.
Oh, we got it. Yeah. You want to do all the housekeeping now?
Yeah.
Watch this. We're terrible at this part.
We have a guest today, Joey. He is how would you describe it? Mental coach?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, mental coach to some fighters. JJ was one of them, and Corey, and a couple others.
Corey's
fighting for a belt soon.
Instagram stories have been amazing lately.
Hey, his video of
amazing
of TL saying when he's like, did you see that one?
Yeah.
He's like 100. That's the best video I think Corey's ever made.
The one that you just put out yesterday, where he's going to Onyx to train, and he walks up to the door, and it's just a sign taped to the door that says "You suck," and then he walks in, and there's another sign on that says "Look left." Or look right, and he looks right, and it's that picture, that huge picture of Justin Gaethje on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh God, they've been so good. I love that he's come out of his shell and his personality is shining now.
Yeah, it's a good time. I haven't seen
Anyway,
him film,
Joey.
but Joey works with Corey quite a bit. I even think you guys put out a little series, right?
We did,
something.
Yeah, we recorded. Corey and I have been working together for 9 years, I think now. So since he was his second to last fight in the LFA was when we started working together.
Damn,
and
that's a long time.
yeah, since then, so almost every fight since. And
Give us your
the background history.
Well, give us your I am a blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
This is what just because I'm not smart.
So yeah, what I do is I'm a mental coach, and you could call it a lot of different things. I don't have a doctorate, so and I'm not licensed as a psychologist. So you avoid terms like I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a sports psychologist.
But I had one that was awesome.
And I do, but I practice sports psychology, right? So I look at it as more of the performance psychology side because I work with not just fighters, but I've worked with people in business side. I've worked in the communications, performance side, military, and then obviously in the sports side as well.
So your education, your former military,
Yeah,
Marines.
I did 5 years in the Marine Corps. I did Intel then, and then I got my bachelor's in psychology while I was still in. And I had a few options getting out, and I chose sports psychology. I ended up at DU because it was one of the only 2 programs in the country that actually had a dedicated master's sport program. And I, from there, just started working after that. I actually did therapy first for about a year before, like direct clinical work for a year before I ever.
I should probably still be going to therapy. You graduated?
From 9 years, like 10
from
years
therapy?
Ago. No, not therapy. No, so I was I acted as a therapist.
I'll lead you down wrong way streets.
Trevor hasn't graduated yet.
No.
But yeah, so I after grad school, I had the plan to actually go and be a psychologist, and I was in a doctorate program, and then I got picked up by, I was doing clinical work at the time, working with eating disorders as a therapist, and there was a point where I was just like, man, this is a little tough, it's a little deep, and so then I got reached out to. Weirdly, around the time I was starting to feel burnt out from that and wondering if I wanted to go into clinical psych, I got a call from old professors, and they wanted me to do some work with this doctor. And I got picked up by this health wellness performance company working for the neurosurgeon that was for the Broncos, the Olympic Training Center. And I got a lot of, that's how I actually met Cody, and that's how I got back into training. Back into grappling and stuff like that, and started working with and meeting a lot of the fighters because the owner of the company had a relationship with all these fighters, and they were invested, not the fighters, with the fighters, with the coaches, and they were invested in this company, and then that bridged that gap, and I started to really work deeper in the MMA side, and that's been the majority of the work that I've done for the last decade.
Which is amazing, and if more athletes at the beginning of their career, I think would find a sports therapist or a mental coach, I think it really does go far. I have a horrible problem with self-sabotage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm the king of it. I can build an empire, and the day you're going to sign the dotted line for your, like, I'll find a way that day.
Yeah.
I'll do all of it. And then that day I'll be like, yeah.
We are our worst.
Oh God, I'm terrible. I'm so bad.
We're our first enemies with everything. We're their first opponent. We're our first person we have to fight before we can even apply half the stuff that we do learn. And like you said, I wish there were more components of like this availability of specific type of mental coaching or some type of like, I would even call it just performance psychology, because when I actually so in grad school, we had a program where we were allowed to practice with like, we had contracts with local high schools. So it's kind of lower risk. They're not, high level pro athletes where, there's championships on the line. These are high school kids.
High schools are high risk now. You got to wear a bulletproof vest.
No, that part, yeah. Well, and that's almost exactly the point. What we realize a lot of times we're here doing sport coaching and sports psychology, and we think we're going to make them crazy athletes, and most of the work we end up doing is life coaching.
Right.
And it's more of like, they're nervous about going to school. Like they're anxious about going home. Some kids go to sport after school because they don't want to go home. Right.
Home sucks. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like, you realize you're kind of like, no, you're not doing therapy, right? That would be outside of the scope of what we're doing. But you realize that you're actually helping them kind of become a little bit more resilient and approach life a little bit more with like a different focus and help them shift those anxieties. It's not just about performing the sport. It's how you show up to school. It's how you take a test, how you talk to your teachers, how you communicate with them. And they realize these are life skills most kids either inadvertently learn because they had good role models or they lack because no one took the time to pull them aside and teach them these little life skills that they lack.
I will say, Jay, the guy that I worked with, the best part, the one thing I learned most from him is it had nothing to do with me as an athlete.
Yeah.
And it was never, it was never like, I don't think my skills are good enough to do that. It was all, like you said, it was all this other stuff in the background that would give my brain permission to make something fail, because I come from, a crazy, chaotic, like trauma childhood. I'm not supposed to achieve what other people, and I'm like, and with him, working with him, it was never like, skill-wise, I close me in a cage, no problem. I was raised in trauma. Close a cage, and I'm like, okay, we know what to do here. There was all this stuff on the outside, and he really worked with me on catching myself early in the process and saying, "Oh, I see what I'm putting building blocks together now for the downfall that I need to happen there."
Yeah, you had a good mental coach. That's awesome, because that's how I practice. I always say, like, everything I'm teaching, if I'm working with a fighter, right? Even Corey, I'll remind him of this. It's like, remember, these skills aren't just for performance. They're not just for this fight. It's also, these skills should be practiced in the rest of your life.
Sure.
And even if you only care about the sport performance side,
it's
if you
bleed.
Don't practice in the rest of your life, you're not actually going to be good at it. But using these skills in that fight, in those practices,
you can't put it in its little compartment and say, I only use that for this.
It doesn't even work. It won't even work if you wanted to do it. I mean, you can dig into like the literature or whatever and say, what is this? One term I like is conflict spillover theory. It's essentially the idea that, like, when you look at like systems theory, you can't, like, there is no vacuum of experiences in your life. Like, even if you think you can compartmentalize the argument you had this morning and you feel like you're in a good mood later, you have a slight negative bias towards the next interaction, whether you know that or not. And that's why we have things like you said, your coach worked with you on noticing early, right? Catching these things so that you don't spiral out, so that you don't go down that rabbit hole of what if I can't, fear of failure, fear of success, and you start to give yourself those reasons.
It was fear of success for me, which is the weirdest thing.
Oh, I would admit to the same thing.
Yeah, failure, no problem.
What do you think that comes from, though? Like the fear of success? Because everybody wants success. But what is the fear? What, like, that you find with like some of the athletes or some of the people you work with? What is the fear of the success? Like, they just don't want to take accountability for creating.
You feel undeserving of the success, so you have to mess something up in the process so that you can have the failure because you don't deserve the success, and then you can always point back to, in my camp, this was the problem. It wasn't the problem. I was like this. Look, here's my secret little problem that I'm going to use.
Yeah.
When I ran cross country in high school, I always thought about rolling my ankle at the beginning of the race. So because I was so nervous about the run, even though like you already started running, you're already in the race. Why would you just quit? Because I didn't want to have a bad result.
Right.
And I'd still run it and I'd still do whatever I did and I'd be happy or mad about it. But like in that moment, that the idea of not succeeding made me want to give up before, even if I was already in the race. And like, you could call that either, but I would say that, I wouldn't say it's more fear of success, but like, I mean, that's a fear of failure, but also like, what if I get that fast? And now everybody expects me to always be that good.
That's the worst pressure in the world.
What if I win a belt and then I lose it right away?
Right.
What does that look like? Was I a legit champion? Was I whatever? You hear these guys say this.
Put the belt around your waist and retire immediately.
Go out on top.
Just bam.
Yep.
Just be done. I'm out, guys.
Yeah.
Good job. Thanks.
I'll turn off the lights on the way out because it's done.
Yeah. All right. So that's all right.
Do you deal as a coach?
I think I deal the most with like the pressure of them just performing to do this best they can. Because the outcome I feel is what it is.
Right.
Like I feel that the moment you sign that fight, to me, whatever it is you believe in spiritually, or you believe in rocks, or you believe in the stars, or
Halloween.
Whatever it is you believe in, I feel that outcome is already determined. How we show up and how we perform is just based on all the work we do.
Do you as a coach, do you battle the same mental like struggles where have I given them enough? Did I like sometimes, because like with me, there's combinations you won't work with me. Why? Because it's a waste of everybody's time. But are there sometimes you're like, oh, did I show them? Did I open enough doors for them as far as skill?
I think it's always every fight. Even if, honestly, like even if they win, I feel like it's a little bit worse. Sometimes for me, because they're like, man, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. And I always look back, like we won and we did good, but did I give them that fulfilling?
Or you see that moment in the fight, you won, and then you in your mind you play it back, and you're like, they could have finished him right there if we'd have worked on
certain things.
That
I do. I struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot. Like it's always a worry of mine. Even as we walk I've done a better job, like masking a lot of it, because I know it all. I know these athletes, like, well, the ones I work with. The fighters from Asia are very hard to read because they show no emotion and they show no expression. So that's a little different. But like the fighters that are here, they can feel a vibe.
When you also
thing, so I'm like,
you amplify it because you work with a lot of female fighters.
Yeah, which is
like guys, we can pretend really well and not receive the energy.
Yeah,
so to say.
Well,
but girls, man, if you're even a little bit off, if you're having a weird thought in your brain about something that has nothing to do with the fight, but you're in the room with them, they're like,
I think most of it for me, for the girls, is the tone and the way it's said. Is the thing for me that I'm constantly like, I fail more than I'm aware. But then when I'm aware, I'm like, dang it, I got to fix that. I got to fix it. And I'm good.
And I don't know how, I do not know how you transition so well to a female athlete coach, because you are the most brutally honest.
I try to be
in the moment. Like,
well, some girls,
when I'm at the lowest of lows in a camp, he does not adjust how he talks to me.
But the girls they want you to be nice, but they don't want you to lie to them, because it's a weird like a guy. I feel sometimes is like,
you'll just tell me I suck. Though
the girls are though, you gotta be honest, but you gotta be nice at the same time. And sometimes it's
how
tough.
do you do that?
I don't know. Sometimes I've learned a lot though with JJ. Like she's quiet, and
but you can see a small exchange in her facial expression.
Like, honestly, like after she worked at one camp. The first one you guys did, and I can't remember what fight it was for, but there was a lot I learned, and she was a little bit more vocal on, hey, when you say this is what I feel.
Right.
So to me, when you're feeling that, that's
Perception
actually
is reality.
Yeah, that's what you're actually seeing. You know what I mean? So like, I have to figure out words. Like one of the ones I learned, tone is like, don't do that. Like, hey,
I've heard that from you a lot.
Like, yeah, like for her, like I try not to say don't do that, because in her mind it's just a negative. Like,
or let's try to avoid that. Or,
like, hey, think about, hey, let's move a little bit. Let's like, so she's actively thinking about doing something different. So like those things have, like, I've tried to be aware of more.
Right.
And I try to use that with everybody now, because I feel like it helps, not just guys. I feel like it helps. I mean, not just girls. I feel like it helps the guys and vice versa, and I feel like Joey does a good job, because Joey does show up to sparring. He doesn't just work at the office and then they go talk to him and then you come back. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things, like, and there's times where like, hey, I seen JJ do this. I'm like, oh, good. Well, because I don't see those things.
Right.
So.
And, I mean, what Mike's saying is important. Imagine if you were a striking coach, but you never watch your athletes strike.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to, like, they just tell
He's
you
never
what they
watched
did?
me strike.
Oh, yeah, I know I turned my wrist over this far, my elbow lifted here, and I did, like, that's just not going to, like, unless you're a very visual person, but the bias of their recall, all of that, like, it's the same thing with what I'm doing. And what he says is important, too, because of they do train so much because of the judge's bias, right? And because they don't want their opponent to see if they are hurting, right? You don't show that you don't flinch. There's so much work on, after the battle, how many coaches yell, like, how many coaches yell? Yeah.
Shut her up.
Just like you said, you warned us ahead of time.
You see what I'm saying? She's trying to put her AI chat GPT in there. Get out of here.
I don't even have a phone.
Right. No, but one of the things that, like, and this is why, like, for the results, it is like, it sucks when it's only go when you win, right? Like, everything's better.
Yeah.
When you're losing, it sucks. But like, it was that Veronica Hardy fight that she lost. That we were struggling with some moments inside training camp, like the whole, like, making a choice just to go, making a choice, like.
And that was that 15-week one.
Yeah, and it was like I feel like it was 6 months long.
Too long.
Because she had like three opponents dump out.
Yeah,
it was a long camp.
It was just a long camp for like, there was a moment.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Me too. But it was a moment in the camp, or in the fight, where Joey seemed like she made a choice on what they were working on, to just go and to let loose, which it
good
was
in the moment.
It was good to see. It's like, oh, see, now if we could just transition that to fit, like 2 rounds prior,
Sure.
Right.
we're gonna get better results here. But it was good to see that it's things are working, not just you know what I mean. If that makes sense.
And I think for athletes at that level, which I would have like really no comprehension of, it's interesting to see, because they'll come out of the gates, get signed, and the trajectory is huge, and then they hit this spot where they just don't want to lose. And the fighter that got them to here changes into this fighter who if I protect the minutes, I'm good.
Yeah.
If I manage the minutes, rather than you watch, I mean, they're just gangbusters, just crazy. Win or lose, it's going to be in spectacular fashion. And then.
So you bring up that point, and that's an interesting one, because you're talking about this change in behavior, right? That happens. We can observe this sometimes. You ever see football teams completely give away a lead because they switched to a more defensive posture.
Right.
And
They were up big, let's not lose.
Right. And so in reality, the statistical outcome is it's rare that those comebacks do happen. But when they do, it's because of that. Like, not only it happens within the performance of the game or itself, but they get up to this point because of who they were, because of the things they were already doing, right? I'll use Corey as an example because he is a very good example of this, because of how he has changed. He's changed and evolved every fight, and every time after his camp, he looks at the next fight as a new evolution, as a new opponent, as a new thing. Take the things that were working that we apply, that we're good at, and then build on them with his coaches to this new game plan, this new thing. He changes styles, he changes techniques, he changes his approach, and that, I believe, is a huge contributor to his success, because he's always adapting to whatever that challenge is. But when people get up to that championship level, maybe the ego kicks in, maybe again the fear, I don't want to lose this, so I got to keep going back to what I know worked before. But that worked then or against even that person at that time when you were that person.
And sometimes it's not even I go back to what worked before, it's
what I'm most comfortable with.
How can I not put myself in any danger?
Right, yeah.
The no danger point of I've watched so many fighters lose or go on a losing streak because they're fighting not to lose. They're fighting not to get hurt or get damaged.
And what Mike was saying before about how he cues his athletes is the same thing. And we've talked about this as well, where it's like this idea of like telling someone to not do something is 1,000 different choices after that moment. You tell them, don't do this. Well, what should I do, right? And in a high stress moment, the best thing you can give them is exactly what they should be doing, especially if they're in a moment where they need that direction.
Yeah, there's nothing better than you're in a high stress moment in the fight and you hear, throw the jab. And you're like, I can throw the jab. But if you say, stop moving backwards.
Where do you want me to move?
And?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm real good at planting my feet. We can stay right here because that's the only instruction I know now. I don't move backwards.
Yep. And then you stop and you get punched. And you hear that, like, I think it's a lot of good coaching is focusing on what you want your athlete to do and how they're going to do it.
Right.
And I wouldn't call it negative coaching, but it's always like avoidant, right? Telling them not to do something, telling them, and even to the point of like, you can go too much of telling them what to do. And then you're pulling their attention away from what's in front of them.
You're giving them too many details.
Back into your corner. Yeah. And they're thinking about, what do I got?
What did you say?
And all of a sudden they're not paying attention.
What?
Yeah.
With the...
And there's this threat in front of them they're no longer paying attention to.
Listening into the corner of a lot of fights, Trevor Whitman, I think is one of the masterminds of a corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he uses the least amount of words that he has to, and it's usually all from a positive perspective. Even like an athlete can get just mollywopped for a round, and he'll be like, "All right, now we've taken everything they have." You know, it's like he twists it back, and you just watch him, and he has so much fun in the corner that the athletes appear to be having a much better time. Because we've also seen a lot of corners, and I won't talk about some of them, where they're like yelling at their athlete in the corner.
One
and
in the UFC.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think we're talking the same one. But they're just, you're watching the athlete, and they're trying to receive information because they've been conditioned to just say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And then they come off the stool, and there's no...
Wait, what did you say?
There was no adjustment in their mind. It was, what do I have to say to get him to stop yelling? And now the bell rings, and I'm right back in the same position I was.
Yeah.
And I've been working alongside Trevor for these last 2 fights and having a lot of great... I've known him for a while. We've been around the same circles in the sparring, coming to sparrings and stuff with the Elevation back in the day and everything. And getting to talk to him so much over the last couple of fights with Corey has been... To me, it's such a relief as somebody who is a mental coach who practices this, because my hope is I don't need to work with everybody or be the person seen working with everybody. I just care that people do this work.
Right.
One of my goals was, and I was very excited about the fact that when I cornered Neil as a mental coach, and that's what I was there for, it was what I wanted people to see. Look, someone has a mental coach and they see that this is valuable.
Right.
And when I talked to Trevor, he's so well read. When I speak to him about the things that I do, and maybe I pull the theory of the literature that supports it up, and he starts speaking of it at the level that at the similar same level of myself, and I'm sitting here. This is so refreshing to have this coach who intimately understands not only that this is what he should do, but he's really looked into
and
why
he believes
he's doing it. Yeah,
it's not. I need to say these words because I read him in these books, and it's going to make he has brought it into his personality. He's brought it into his coaching.
Yeah, and he does a good job of figuring out that round. You might think that, man, this guy probably needs to hear this, and this, and then Trevor might say something different because he's also making a determination based on their body language, their face, how they might be emotionally
and
processing.
being able to read your athlete is so important.
And this is what you need right now. Yeah. And like what Mike was saying, like one of the things, because a lot of athletes don't show that face, especially fighters, getting good at reading body language and making your adjustments as a coach, or in my perspective, I watch body language for emotional changes.
Sure.
I can tell, I've learned from seeing how people's attention shift just by watching their faces. Even if there's an emotional change, their body tells you so much about what they're thinking. And I think Trevor's just learned to read that so much, and good coaches learn to read that, and then they talk to their athlete based on what they need, not just, I need to say this because I'm the coach.
And as an athlete, it's nice when a coach sees the things without saying them. Like if I start moving to the right and I'm just getting obliterated and I don't want to go right anymore.
Right.
When the coach can recognize that and change the game plan without saying, man, you're getting the shit beat out of you when you move to the right. Just saying, hey, let's try to, let's
make more of our shifts to the left off of that, right?
Or let's take control of the center of the cage for this round.
Right.
Taking my focus off of direction. Those things, I think they land so much deeper in your brain in a corner than coming out to.
It's simple.
Yeah.
It's one thing rather than, well, what else should I do? Like you said, like, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Well, and it's so nice when a coach will bail you out of your own. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, fuck, I don't want to. Like, if he tells me that I need to throw this combo and move to that right, I'm not. It hurts. And when they can see that you can't get that edge, and they're like, and they make the adjustment without saying it.
Right.
Oh, it's so saving. It really, it makes you go, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. You know what else is insane?
What?
That we started doing
Half the housekeeping.
the housekeeping, and then
Stopped.
If you're still watching, right?
No, thank you for still watching.
Thank you for still
See,
watching.
we're redirecting this.
Thanks. But if you haven't already, hit the join button. It's what, $1.99 a month?
Yep.
Right, $2 a month.
Become a member.
Become a member. You get all the unedited version. 10 minutes before, 10, 15 minutes before, 10, 15 minutes after. You could go back and watch
everything.
Everything that we put out.
And you get the whole, from when we hit record, all the way to where we actually leave.
All the ASMR conversations.
Yeah, everything that happened back there, they can see, and they can go back and watch the members live section video on demand.
Yeah.
So it's there for them forever. What a lot of you guys don't understand is Kay Miller edits.
Yeah, no, and you just see the premiere.
Right. When you guys see like the camera switches and everything, she edits out half the time that I sound like a complete moron.
So
you get the moron version when
if you're a member, Well, and it also, I mean, we just put a lot of money into building a new studio and a lot of stuff going on. So, that $1.99 doesn't sound like a lot, but when
it's super helpful.
When people,
to us.
it helps. It helps a lot.
And at the end, you can ask us or pick a number from 1 to 3,000 about questions about me.
We do that with the members at the end after we cut the episode,
and just answer.
We allow them to pick 3 or 4 numbers and
we just answer them right off the fly.
And we do it cold too, which is nice.
I like that.
So the response is the response.
I'll take a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do one.
Yeah,
after.
we'll do them.
Sure.
And if you can't, at least hit the subscribe notification, and just watch the premieres, hang out with us on the premieres. Otherwise, if you're a member, you're hanging out with us now.
Yep.
Or Kay Miller's talking to you probably.
Yeah.
So
and if you're not a member, and that's fine because I get it, dude. This economy's crazy. If you enjoy the podcast in any way, share it with somebody else that might.
Yep.
It's easy to copy a link and just go, hey, check these out. Yeah. They had a guest on that's actually intelligent.
Yeah.
You should try it.
Sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
It's not
I
just
just remembered a lot of words.
It's not just Trevor telling the same story over again because he has no memory.
Yeah, you forgot.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Look at that. Housekeeping.
Done. Halfway through. What are we?
An hour in.
It was halfway through.
Damn it.
Anyway, I do have a question because we talked about this briefly. There's certain mental coaches that will pick at certain things.
Yeah.
And I know that, to me, some of the things, I always tell a fighter, I don't need to know why you do this. one, it's none of my business if there's past trauma. Like, I just don't need to. I just want to see out there.
Give me an example,
just like, what do you mean? An example of what?
Why of something that an athlete does or doesn't do that they feel like they need to explain. Well, and you're like, I don't care.
Like, for instance, what I mean by like trauma, like, let's give an example. My parents beat me. I don't need to know that. Like, I mean, if you want to share that, that's fine. But I just need to know when we're out there fighting that, he's out there fighting for a reason.
He's out there in a trauma response.
Yeah, like you're just expressing yourself, and that's fine.
Right.
But I feel like there are some coaches, not just, I don't even say mental coaches. I just think coaches in general that want to dig and pick at those.
Well, and I guess
like traumas that here's why it's a problem for me is because I feel like certain people will use that, not necessarily as blackmail, but like, a little bit about me, so I'm not going to leave you.
Yeah. Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Does that
make
sense?
Emotional hoarding of people?
Yeah.
Like, I have all of your stuff, so.
Yeah, and I just don't know if that's the right, I don't know if
See, and I look at it slightly different in, let's say you have an athlete and they grew up in trauma, in chaos, and they got beat and they got yelled at. As a coach, knowing that they probably do not respond properly, appropriately to you raising your voice when they're coaching, because they know the response to someone yelling is shut it down so you don't have to feel it.
Yeah.
Then I'm in the cage fighting and you're yelling your goddamn brains out, and you might as well just sit silently because I can't hear a word you're saying.
I think that comes with the body language. We should, like, us as coaches, need to realize that there's certain things we do because I don't believe that you can coach every fighter the same.
No,
I just don't. I don't believe in the system of this is what we're doing.
I hate that old. I'm glad that most systems have
hobbyists
moved forward.
For hobbyists, I feel that it does work.
Sure,
you know what I mean, because it gives them a sense of like the whole like I'm accomplishing something. But people that are actually fighting.
Right.
Prize fighting, I just don't think you should coach like that.
If it's jiu-jitsu and you're a hobbyist,
take the class, line up.
Then the class is the class is the class.
Yeah. But if we're fighting, we need to approach every athlete different. That's why that's why I'm not a firm believer of coaching everybody, because I feel like you got to have the right vibe for those people.
I love that about Mike too. Mike will tell an athlete, I'm not the one for you. Like, I'm not the coach for you. Mm-hmm. You need a different style.
Mm-hmm. And I told one of the athletes at the gym, and I get along with him great. Just because I have to be invested in a way where it's like, that's why I get tired, because I'm too invested maybe. I don't know. But the win is all seeing genuine happiness is probably just the only thing I'm chasing.
Right.
Because that's when they're like, you see when Corey wins, it's like, oh, that's genuine. Yeah, that's happy. And I think that's what you're fulfilling, is just seeing somebody happy,
helping that person accomplish their goals. The trauma thing it's a tough subject, because you look at a lot of like my colleagues, they are trained at the level to do things like dig into, to do like deep therapy counseling, if you will, or even licensed. I am not licensed,
like working through the trauma so that you can,
but not necessarily in the sake of like for high performance. Now, I would argue that if you can help address those traumas and stuff, right, you put someone in a higher performance state, because those traumas aren't affecting them the same way anymore. They're not bringing in, like you said, like person has anxiety because they shut down when the coach yells at them. The coach doesn't understand that. They're like, you're just not listening. They're like, they didn't explain.
I can't.
Right. And they didn't, okay, maybe there's something that I shut down when you yell at me. But to Mike's point, they don't necessarily have to tell you, I shut down when you yell at me because I had an abusive childhood, right? They can just say, I don't respond to that kind of coaching. And as you a coach, you respond to that communication, right? And I'm not saying I don't ever have these conversations about these traumas with athletes, but to Mike's point, it's kind of like, what are you there to do, right? Your relationship with your athlete is going to be, like he said, it's different with everybody. And some might be way more open.
I think it's so interpersonal too.
It is. And
because, they have to walk us through the shittiest times to get to the others. It's, if I can't look at them and like get that feeling from them that, we can do this.
Right.
Having those cookie cutter coaches, kind of what he was saying, where you have to fall into their program.
They have a system and you have to do their system. Yeah.
I don't think that those systems get out of their athletes anywhere near the potential that they could if they would like say, hey, this fighter right here,
Right.
I mean, this is a champion fighter, but if you coach him this way, he's going to look like your average amateur.
Right. And I mean, I think that's just your job as the coach to determine the needs of your athlete, right? And then from the mental coaching side, though, like it's about intentionality to me, right? So if you have a mental coach or a coach in general who wants to dig into the trauma of the athlete, right? Without that athlete willingly sharing that stuff, and they say, in order for you to work with me, you have to share these traumas with me. To me, that's extremely inappropriate because
that's coercion almost.
Right. And you're saying in order to work with me, you have to reveal personal things about yourself.
Right.
And to me, that's immediately feels manipulative, right? Like you have to give me something vulnerable in order for me to show up for you.
Yeah.
That's already emotional manipulation, right? So the other part of it, like I said, it's intentionality. It's if you're not forcing it, if it is a part of the way you coach and an athlete doesn't respond and they don't want to do that and you're like, yeah, that's just what I need. And if you want to work with me, that's what it is. There's a level of that I'm okay with, right? But it has to also, there's a responsibility on top of that. So intentionality and responsibility, meaning that, example, I'm not going to give you, let's say you have someone who's like extremely intuitively smart. Maybe they're a genius in some other field. I don't think a mechanical engineer, if I handed him a scalpel, would be able to dig a bullet out of my leg in a way without causing more harm than good potentially, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because he's untrained. He can be aware of the trauma. He can understand what's happening and why I'm bleeding and there's a bullet in my leg. But he doesn't understand how to extract it in a way that is safe for me and protects me from further harm.
And if he believes that he's so smart that he can figure it out,
he may cause more harm.
Then nicks the femoral artery and you're
right.
Toast.
So a big part of
killed another one, damn it.
So like my master's degree, it's sports psychology, right? But it's still a counseling program. And so in counseling programs, you learn, like you take ethics classes, right? And you learn about like, what do you do when you bring up people's trauma, how do you work with it in a way that doesn't cause further harm or re-traumatize or create compounding trauma, right? You re-traumatize, it gets worse, and now they're digging that, that trauma in deeper. And there's a responsibility with that. So if you're going to recall and have someone pull up their trauma, I hope that you have the training to understand the risks that you're taking, like, and also
don't compound the problem.
Right. But also for me, it's like,
Please.
I do have training. I'm not licensed, so I don't even try to practice in that space. But when someone does come to me with certain things, I have to say, I will refer you to a therapist, right? Even some of my mentors who are licensed psychologists, they work with the high level athletes at the Olympics, with professional teams. They will always refer out any athlete to, like, they have a separate, like, one of my professors worked for the Nuggets, and he said, like, no, they have a separate counselor and psychologist that talks to them about therapy-like things, life skill-like things, whatever.
Not sports things.
Right.
So
even
it's
though
completely different.
He's fully licensed, he's fully capable, he can do that work, and it would be fine. But it's about like what is he there to do? Like, what is his meeting the needs of the athlete and practicing within your competencies? And so, like, if you're a striking coach and you've been a striking coach your whole life, you're not just going to take over the grappling MMA coaching for one of your fighters. Even if you have some familiarity, there's a reason you have, like, Trevor probably knows a lot about grappling and he knows a lot about the MMA.
He's probably seen more rounds than
he fought himself, right? Yeah. But he still has Banks there helping Corey, who's the MMA, the grappling, and that combining the wrestling and all that into the striking.
It's crazy that people don't understand that. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with
they want to be everything.
That don't understand. Like, they're like, well, why don't, like, I use JJ for example because it's happened with her. Like, well, why don't you just teach her everything? I'm like, because we are surrounded by people that know more than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, now if it's an amateur fight, we're on the road and you can only take one coach. Like, I'm comfortable. Like, I could walk us through that.
Right.
But if there's another grappling coach there, I'm not saying nothing. And it's hard for people to understand that.
Yeah.
You just stay in your lane of where you're at, so everybody can function.
Just because you know a lot about MMA doesn't mean that you know a lot about coaching every aspect of MMA.
Yeah.
And not having specific coaches for things is in this day and age it's
crazy,
almost insane.
Yeah. So it's just,
or if you have a coach that feels like they have to be the coach for
everything.
Then you probably have the wrong coach.
I just
and that's just an ego thing from a person. That's not an athlete thing.
that's not an athlete thing.
Yeah.
That's an ego thing for sure.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, the coaching like group that's around like Hama and everything that goes around. There's some really amazing coaches, and it's nice to see, that they're getting maybe not the recognition, but they're getting the opportunities in places like Jet being able to go and work with Corey at Trevor's place.
Right.
Whereas even 5 years ago, that's a hard ass no. If you're training, it's in our facility with our coaches in our little box. And I mean, so many athletes maybe stunted their growth in that system, whereas now, as an athlete, you have to be, for lack of a better word, selfish, because you have to go get the best for you wherever you can get it. And when you get locked into a situation where someone who runs a gym or a team tells you can't, I mean, there's some issues,
especially when you're in the middle of a camp and there's drama going on that has nothing to do with you, and you're trying to go train, and it's just like some coach doesn't like you because you're friends with this coach or this fighter or this
because
guy.
you chose this guy for your wrestling over that guy for your wrestling.
And thankfully, I think I've seen, even with like stuff that has happened over the last decade, I've seen a lot of some separations, but a lot of people, at least around the group and the fight teams that I've seen, and like you said, Hama, it's like people do like. It always seems to welcome people back in. There doesn't seem to be these permanent fissures, and there seems to be always an openness for a conversation.
Well, and there has to be sometimes where you have to separate from the group.
Yeah.
And you have to go and experience and see what's going on. And sometimes it builds such a stronger bond if you leave situations in a way that the communication is still there, the friendship.
Don't burn those bridges.
I mean, because... I mean, we've seen it all over the place. A guy goes and does this, and this, but he burned the bridge over here so bad that the best place for him right now is right there. But either lack of humility or pride says, I can't go back in those doors. Or coach says, that person will never walk through my doors again. Even coaches, they'll say, that coach cannot coach in my facility.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's also a product of, like, you said, the selfishness thing, right? That's important because I think all professional athletes have to be selfish to get to that level to a certain degree, right? It doesn't mean be a jerk to everybody for the sake of being a jerk, but like that selfishness is important because there's this, like, unlike NFL teams, unlike NBA teams, even though there's fight teams with these names and people associate with them, each fighter is like their own NFL team.
Right.
I agree.
Right. They're each their own organization.
You are the product.
Like, and you mentioned the coaching for each athlete has to be a little bit different, and that's a huge part of it, right? Because they're all almost on their own island, and they're just reaching out with these boats to other people to get resources and whatever, but they all are their own team. Right. Ultimately, they're like, you and JJ are the Cowboys, and like whatever the pick. I don't know if you're not a fan of the Cowboys.
Never win the Super Bowl.
Joey, I thought we were friends.
Sorry. Wait, are you a Cowboys fan?
No, Broncos.
No. Okay, yeah.
Broncos. Yeah.
Those are both in the NFL, right?
What's that?
They're both in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, Trevor doesn't know. Trevor's a Cowboy, though. He is a Cowboy. He's not a Cowboys fan. He's a Cowboy.
Okay. I was a Cowboy last weekend.
That's what I'm saying. He came back a Cowboy. But I do agree with everybody's their own team. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people, like, I just need to see why you fight. Like, just and I use that expression, like, I just need to see that there's something different. Like, go out there and tell your story, whatever that looks like.
Right.
Because I always say, like, I always tell JJ this, and I told as the fighters, that I help, the beauty about fighting is once the door shuts, nobody can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Well, they can yell.
They can yell.
You can choose not to hear them.
What I mean? Yeah, you can run around, you can do flips, you can do whatever it is you want to do. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why we always have to be an individual coach for those certain things. And, I think the team is important because those guys do play a part in helping you prepare for that. But at the end of the day, when you're there by yourself, is like, that's why it's like important to do what's right for you by selfishness.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of athletes,
too many people, I feel like like instantly think about selfishness as negative.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you use it in the wrong way, I think it is negative. But if you use it in the right way, they will understand.
And the selfishness we're talking about is the fact that you are the product.
Right. Yeah.
You are responsible for feeding your family. You are responsible for, I mean, you have all these coaches, you have all these things that go on in the background. And when I say being selfish, I mean you have to make sure that you're not always placing like, oh, let them go.
Right.
It's okay. Let they can get around. I'll be over here. I'll wait it. I'll sit it out.
Right.
I'll do the. No, you have to be like, I'm ready to go. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go. I'm doing this. Because you have to prepare yourself completely. And if you were to stop, and like the end of your camp happens, you're in the ready room. If you could like pause the world and turn around and look backwards and go, man, I wish I would have got around in with that person that I said, no, go ahead to someone else, because that person is so similar to what I'm about to go through that I probably would have been that much more prepared.
Yeah.
And that's a selfishness I'm talking about. Is,
Yeah.
Putting the need to prepare, just like an NFL team.
Yeah.
They have to be a selfish team. They have their own nutritionist. They have their own, facility. Why? Because they have to be singularly focused on one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas in an MMA gym, there's
The athletes that
20 athletes.
that entire 63-man roster.
yeah.
Yeah.
One person.
Well, but there's also 9 other teams training in the
Right.
same gym who will take the ups. If you don't go, that's me, I'll go.
Yep.
There's 8 other guys in the room that are going to go, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. And then you're sitting over on the side going, man, I don't feel like I had a great camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Well, because you're too giving of your time. If I'm at the gym, I should be taking every rep that I can get. And if I'm at the gym and I'm sitting on the wall watching all these other athletes get their turns, and I turn around and I go, man, I feel like I didn't get the work I needed for this camp.
Yeah.
Well, that's a problem. And you watch it happen. You watch people feel like they have to be selfless, and they're always looking out for the greater good, and their career kind of peters out because they just didn't take the ups.
You could also look at that in a positive way too, because I think there's people.
You could, but we're not going to.
Well, I'm going to. I come from a positive psychology background, so I'm going to twist it in a good way. But I think there's a side of that too, is where I think you get really, really good coaches that way too. It's the people who realize that I care more about giving back to everybody else in this space than I actually do about my own success. And then they transition into a really cool coaching role.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people do make that transition when they realize that. And then there's like a level of like, you're talking about selfishness, and there's a selfishness of like getting what you need, but there's a point at which, and Mike and I have talked about this before, where you can observe like there are people who take way more than they
when
should.
When selfishness jumps that line to, I mean, just absolute like feral bullshit behavior.
Taking and
Well, and that's where someone, that line of narcissism crosses at that point, where it's one thing to be selfish for your training, and then it's another level to believe that you are the main character in everyone else's story. And that it's all about, I understand that, you're number 13 ranked lightweight,
Right.
and you're number 15th ranked lightweight, but you guys are here for me.
right.
And I expect you to acquiesce and step aside from your goals because me.
But you know what? I don't see that from the most successful fighters.
Right. But you see, at that coming up part where you see a lot of fighters where it happens, then something very humbling happens, and they have to kind of relearn how to be a human being again.
Right.
Because they've been surrounded by people that have told them that they are the center of the universe for so long. And so they believe that, and it becomes a defining part of their personality. And you watch other athletes and coaches just step away from them because
They don't know why.
right. They're like, what do you mean? Like, I work hard. I put in the work. I do this. I do. Yeah. You do all that. But
there's this like pervasive idea that I think some people have when they're pursuing, like, it's that grind set mindset, that's that toxic kind of grind set mindset, which is good. You should work hard. You should put in the work, and you should show up when you're supposed to show up. But like, I think because I've observed this, and this is something I'm writing about as well, about like when you're doing like pre-performance planning and things like that, like how do you show up? Like, what are your intentionality when you show up to the gym? And I had like running into most of these fighters, these athletes at the highest level in the UFC to the amateurs just starting out. You see like this common trend amongst like the pros that walk through the gym that have had a lot of success. Isn't that like, if Corey and Banks are training in the cage or something like that, but there's an active class during normal class periods, they'll move, right? But other people might argue, but they're not, but Corey doesn't, right? And like
other athletes will be like, I'm training for
they're like, I have a fight coming up. It's like, yeah, but there's scheduled classes, and this is a business, this is a gym, and there's teachers trying to teach classes. And it's like,
we'll try to accommate you and give you an area, but you also have to give to us too.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a point of like, there's certain fighters, and I think Mike might feel this way, when they ask for space if you're teaching or whatever. Like, if Mike and JJ come over to me when I'm teaching my Saturday morning class and like, hey, can we use like wall off the corner or rope off the corner? I'll never say no to that.
Right.
Unless my class is so freaking packed, but he wouldn't even
But
ask.
also because
he would have
you
never
know
asked if he knew, because he sees the class is packed, right?
Yeah.
And you also know that if Mike asked and you said, man, I can't today,
It's not a problem, right?
it's not a personal thing, and he's not walking away going, ooh, Joey.
Right.
But there are guys that are like
it's a personal thing. Like,
it's just, but it's just like common sense. It's like, you see it's full. Why are you asking? I just, you know what I mean? It's like,
and I think that mentality. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say that mentality, I think, is like going back to like, they have this idea of what they're supposed to do based on this romanticized vision of like
the Hollywood movie of
athlete,
them.
This is how I'm supposed to act. To
when
be
I walk into the
successful.
gym, everyone
needs to know I'm here. I'm working hard. This is what, and you're like, no, man, you don't.
You should pause your class and have them watch me train.
And what you said, you see those people in those environments struggle.
Yeah.
And like, you could go back to, if you want to go to like we're good, like evolutionary psychology or whatever, but like an organism's ability to adapt to its environment is like the strongest predictor of its ability to survive.
Right.
Right. And so like, you can take that from how a fighter shows up to the gym, and then you could also apply that to like what we were just talking about with Corey and his ability to evolve from fight to fight. He keeps adapting to the task rather than saying, I have all the tools I need. The task doesn't matter.
Right. Let's keep sharpening these tools.
And you can flip that to that kind of, I won't call it arrogance, but like there's this fixated idea, especially like you said, once you get to that level, I got here with these skills, so I keep doing these things. Like, no, you need to adapt to the next thing.
Yeah.
Because everyone's trying to figure out your cheat code.
Right. Anyways, but like, and it doesn't matter what they're trying to figure out. If you change and evolve every fight, they can't figure you out.
That's exactly, yeah.
Right.
Look at,
There's no amount of film that helps if
go back
they
and
look different every
see
time.
Ronda Rousey, the most dominant female athlete
Stopped
for
evolving.
so long, but everybody knew. I mean, you could almost clock this movement to this movement to armbar.
Yeah.
This movement to this movement to arm, and then when the cheat code gets figured out, she can't win because there's no other tricks in the bag.
Right.
And I mean, you watch athlete after athlete after athlete. Not as much with the younger athletes now, which it's such a weird dichotomy because I think that they lack a lot of grit, but they are so much more intelligent as fighters than even like 10 years ago when I was fighting, you go back to 10, 12 years ago in the UFC, and lightweights were 5'7" and little like bowling balls, and we just Now you see these, lightweight is 6'1", and it's a whole different system. But back then, athletes could be so one-dimensional and win because the sport was relatively young. There wasn't a lot of science behind, fixing gaps.
Right.
And now, some of the younger athletes, sometimes I'm like, how did they get here?
Yeah.
Because we're so used to that old school, like you just grind, you just going and going and going. And now it's not the same, but they're so advanced in knowing that I can get this skill set from here and this skill set from here and this skill set from here. But next month, all of those things are obsolete. So I've got to get this. I've got to get this. And it's never just resharpen the same tools.
Right.
It's, those tools got me to here, but they're not, like, they don't work now at this level. So I need to adjust and adapt.
Get some new tools.
Yeah. If you can't strike, grapple, wrestle, dirty box,
we got to be able to do everything.
I mean, if you have a hole in any one of those things, you are not going to there are very few, there's some, but very few athletes that can now make it to, that highest level.
Yeah. You got to be good at everything.
Yeah. It's, I do not envy fighters today because
they have
there's so much.
I would say they're a lot smarter or more informed, but not all that information is good.
Sure.
Oh yeah. People working, they're getting,
information overload.
It's just like we hear the conversations all the time in the gym. You're over here, this conversation about this new supplement here, this new thing, this new training, this workout, and you're just like, are you doing like why is your why for these things? Like it getting better, of course, but like, does this do this thing for you? What are you addressing right now?
Right. If you're chasing next best thing all the time, it's just like people outside of fighting.
Right.
Okay. In the real world, I have friends that are serial entrepreneurs, but they've done 19 things in the last 3 years because it was the next thing. I don't want to say MLM because that's not how, but very similar structure. And we see it all the time. We all know people who just want to be an entrepreneur so bad, but it's, this is the greatest thing ever. You guys got to try this. You got to try this. And then as soon as that loses steam or interest to them, all of a sudden this other thing is now the greatest. Hydrogen water. And then this.
Alkaline water. And then this water.
Yeah. So it's
like alkaline water is going to make up for the fact that you didn't go to grappling.
Yeah. Or the fact that you didn't know road work whatsoever. Your conditioning is shit because you didn't drink enough alkaline water.
Your pH balance is off. So
You
can't okay, I'm going to do that as soon as I leave here.
You can drink some alkaline water?
On the way out.
You think it'll work for me?
It might.
It won't. It won't.
I think too, a lot of coaches and athletes just don't know where to be. Just wherever they're supposed to be, that's where they're supposed to be. They're always looking for in a rush to get to that next.
The old adage, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence.
I just don't believe and I use JJ for an example as for the girls, and I tell the guys to look around the room and see what they're doing, right? And when I tell somebody to do something like, hey, I think you should be doing this, and then they're like, well, I want to do what they're doing. Like for Corey and JJ, for example, because I see them work a lot one-on-one with their coaches. Like they get a lot of one-on-one time. And they're like, why am I not getting one-on-one time? I'm like, well, you missed 10 years ago when they were doing exactly what you were doing. Yeah. And they didn't get one-on-one time. Mm-hmm. You know
when
what I mean?
Were just
you're trying to skip a step here to where.
Yeah, skip the line is
you know what I mean? Which it gets you somewhere, but when that door shuts, you're not going to understand the language that people are talking to you in that way, right? Because you're still in this, and I feel like that's how some coaches are. They're just like when Trevor talks, and I was talking to one of the fighters yesterday that I'm helping, and Trevor came up and started talking to him about certain stuff, and I was saying the same thing, right? As soon as Trevor started talking, knowing that I need to learn something, I just be quiet, let him talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll absorb information.
I know where I need to be. You know what I mean? I'll absorb information. And it was good to hear what Trevor said to him because it helped me confirm. I see, I told you. And
I don't want to interrupt, but that is so important as a coach.
Yeah.
The ability to be like, see what that coach said? That's what we're talking about, rather than be like, why don't you do what I said? That's what I said.
I told you that 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you listen to me?
That ego away,
and even there's coaches they'll talk. I'm just hear him, but that was also a good reason. Yeah, I'm glad I'll never say that. Okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, paying attention and going,
you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
those athletes show up for this.
I don't need that. I don't need that. But like, if a coach that I respect a lot says something, I'm just like, you know, and it helps me. Like, okay, that we're doing the right things. Like, we don't need to be all over the place.
Well, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think that the skip the line thing is the mentality I'm talking about.
Right. Like I have to act like this, so I should get these things.
You know, it's when we came up, there was no skip the line.
Right.
You were the low man on the totem pole until you weren't the low man on the totem pole. You know, and eventually you showed up enough and on a regular schedule enough that a coach would say, okay, there's value in that person. Because everybody joins a gym or joins a fight team and then wants every coach to want to work with them, and they come for like 5 days and then the life's on them in their mind, and they ghost for like 3 weeks, and then they come back and they expect all the coaches to be right back like, all right, that 3 weeks didn't even happen. We're just gonna. Whereas, I mean, we were coming up, man. If you skipped a day,
everyone noticed.
And the coach would be like, I told you we were working on this yesterday.
Yeah.
And you chose not to be here. I guess you'll catch it
next time
around.
Yeah.
You know, and these kids now are like, yeah, well, you know, I had to walk my goldfish. It was an important thing yesterday. So can you stop what you're doing today that's advanced on yesterday and pause everybody else's life to catch me up to where they are, and then we'll continue class.
So I teach, I think I mentioned, I teach jiu-jitsu as well at Hama. And I want to reward the students who are the most consistent, but like you're running a commercial gym. So like, I want to also make sure every student feels welcome there and give them the same amount of attention.
It sucks when the athlete that skipped a month and comes back and you got to love, you're like, hey, it's so great to have you. Oh man, and you're like,
I'm glad that it's like the one, and then also like even the fighters, like they've been gone and then they don't pay attention, and then you're having to basically give them a private the entire time. And it's like, well,
you do the tech instruction and you break for everyone to go drill.
You redo the instruction.
And then they're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's me all the time. What are we doing?
But yeah, I think going back to that, like all about the intentionality, like if you show up thinking that you're supposed to be treated like a superstar already and the resources for the superstar stuff are there already, you're not going to move forward because people are just going to get real sick of you and sick of working with you. And gyms are going to get sick of you. And, but you like, I mean, Neil's already in the UFC, right? Neil Magny. And there's been fights where I've gone there and it's just like, you have to stop him from doing stuff for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's wanting to pick people up from the airport.
That's what I'm saying.
Like this guy,
the selfishness in him is
buying,
not.
He buys glove. He bought an entire box of glove tape for the gym. Yeah, that's a resource, and he's made more money at that point. But you can see how he's making an effort to be like, I'm not trying to take from this space.
Right.
I'm going to come here and use the resources that I need selfishly.
And give back what I can.
But I'm also showing you that I care that you gave me this space.
Right.
And like that shows up in a lot of ways, like we talked about with like how even like someone, a UFC fighter, will move for other class. They'll move and not argue, and then they always like, they don't leave messes. You can tell like there's fighters who don't leave a mess, and then there's fighters who leave a problem, right? And you're just like,
we have one. I'm going to say we have one in particular that leaves like, oh, he's here. Gosh.
And it's like, yeah, it's
their bag is strewn from one end of the gym to the other.
No, their suitcase is strewn from one end.
Well, I mean, going back to the adaptability and the survivability thing, right? If you walk into a gym and you expect the entire environment to change to you, if you were an organism, if you were like a cat or like some wild cat out and you walk into the jungle and you expect all the lions about it, or the tigers and lions about you, right? Like
you have a one-day life.
Yeah, you're there's no resource for you there.
Yeah.
You can't draw from that space.
Yeah.
And you're actually by showing up overly selfish to this idea of like everyone should be giving to me, you actually get less.
Yeah.
You get way less attention. Like we were talking about the athletes that do show up, that do give back.
Oh,
that
I'll
show you your
immediately
time
shut
matters.
down.
Yeah.
And I am not always a kind person. Not that I don't want the best for other people, and not that I don't like. my wife and I go out of our way when it's time to help. But if someone doesn't deserve it and I'm watching everyone around them walk on eggshells and like trying to, even though the athlete or the person is the one that screwed the situation up or not doing what they want, as soon as they come back around, everyone's like, oh, well, we're just going to have to make up some time. We'll figure it out. Yeah. I'm like, we wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that you're more important than everything else and didn't take this serious. Now you've got a short camp and this and that. So I guess we'll try to patch something together, but...
Well, it's like we talked about the conflicts bill before about how these things are like they permeate through your life, whether you want them to or not. And you can take something as small as the transition from you showing up to the gym and getting on the mat and how it affects your ability to learn, right? Like if you're walking in with this mentality of you're just taking, then you're probably not as perceptive to the information you're getting from all the coaches. And even though you think like, no, they're good, they do show up and they do practice and stuff. I would argue that like if they had a different intentionality when they show up and if they thought about how like they're a part of that ecosystem that they're benefiting of, even if it is a selfish benefit, they will get more out of it.
If you peel it back to jiu-jitsu, the purest form, because jiu-jitsu exposes pretty much everything about you in life, I think. Yeah. You watch guys, purple belts, high blue belts, and the coach says, hey, so-and-so's teaching basics tomorrow, and they know what the class is, and they know that athlete needs that class. You show up and take their basics class. Well, then when they walk in, everything that you're coaching, they're either arguing with you about or they believe that they're above the text. So you say, all right, break, everybody, let's go, let's 10 reps apiece, blah, 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 blah. And you look over and they're just like kind of sloughed off on the side.
Well, they already know it. They already did it. Yeah.
And so you almost want to put them in a position where you're like, all right, we're going to go live, but you can only work this.
Right.
And then you're just going to shut down every possible out that they thought they had and say, well, maybe you did need this class. Maybe there's a reason. Because there's nothing worse as a jiu-jitsu coach than the three guys that think that they know everything about everything.
Oh, I love those guys.
Or they know...
I love rolling with those guys.
They know, they know more about the technique than the person who actually spent the time to really break it down so that it becomes a blueprint to coach it, not just...
I mean, they could. I've had students walk in, white belts, who probably, I'm a brown belt. I've been training for 8-9 years, and I have 10 years of wrestling before that. So I have almost 2 decades of grappling. And I still have people show up and say things I've never seen before and I've never done before.
Wait, but that's different.
But they present it in a way in counter to what you're showing. And they don't understand the underpinning.
Right.
This is not what I'm showing.
They bring it from a curious point of view, like...
Yeah.
It seems like you could just do this. And you're like,
you could. Yes, that is there. But you need to understand how to do this to elicit this response so you can do that cool thing you saw on Instagram. Right. And it's like, but they're like, but I would do that. I wouldn't do that. And it's like,
if I open the door right for you, you'll do just about anything I want when I pretend like you earned it.
They try to give full resistance steering, like drilling. And they're like, well, this wouldn't work. And I'm like, because the person you're doing that against hasn't learned the technique, right? And they're not doing it with an effort. Like I think, Professor Donovan Cody's very.
They saw this 6 minutes ago. No, they can't. Put fully instituted on.
I mean, Professor Donovan talks about this really well when he's like framing Cody Donovan, right? Like, is when he's framing when he talks about like teaching certain things in classes, how to like frame it, and he always does a good job at giving like context of like. This is a determined outcome without resistance, right? Versus this is an undetermined outcome with resistance or without, right? And so it's like we're doing a drill where we're flowing, so it's undetermined but not with resistance, right? With little resistance.
You let the move happen.
It's like do the drill and be a good uki so they can learn. But to your point, you have the people show up that they already know, and it's like you could technically know more about this than me, but your body hasn't learned how to do it yet. Right. So you could probably, if you physically learned how to do the counter, you've never moved this way, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So often what they don't realize is they're like, well, you could just do this. And that might happen on a much lower level technical student. But what they don't realize is when they get on the mat with someone like us, then I'm going to open that door for you because you think that is the be like I saw everything I needed to see. If I do this, you're going to do that because you believe that you can beat the system with your Instagram move of the week.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep allowing that door to open and you close it on me, and you close it on me until you're so confident in it that I'm gonna open it, and then when you go to close it, oh shit, that opened the right door that I wanted to do something else to you.
Yeah.
Did you shut down the move? In your mind you did.
Your imagery is they probably do good imagery and visualization.
Right. And I allowed you to feel so confident in shutting that move down so many times that you weren't concerned about my other hand over here.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, I think that's obviously this isn't a sports show all the time, but I mean, it's a great determiner for life in the same way. When people, you know, I know.
They don't adapt.
And then this person's over here is just, I'll take that information. And then when it comes to time for corporate to decide who gets the promotion, this guy walks in the door and he's like, well, I've known this forever and I've been telling you guys this, and this. And the person who quietly gathered information and did it correctly goes, well, I really appreciate the opportunity. I've explored, I think that these are some things that could benefit based on the corporate structure and, you know, the motto of our company. And then the guy over here that was pissed off walking away going, oh, well, I deserved this promotion a year ago.
We saw that, I mean, in the military all the time. There's some new colonel, some new person who came in and took over a program, and even though it worked everything was working perfectly fine, we have to change all of it so that their name is attached to it, so that their promotion towards, they're working towards like general or commission or whatever, right? Like they
revamped the company for blah, blah, blah.
At the detriment to everybody. Like sometimes it might improve some things, but it doesn't all, it definitely changes or makes some things worse.
Yeah. It's so much
more times than not makes it worse.
It's so much better when you get, you know, the new officer or the new manager who comes in and just chills for a minute.
Right.
Let me see how this works, and let me see where I can put small tweaks on things so my name is still on it, but I have not completely disrupted everything.
Going back to when we were talking about misophonia before we were live, I was talking about that my gunnery sergeant from the Marine Corps, right? Like he was one of the best leaders I ever had. And he taught me a lot about different types of leadership and all the stuff we've been talking about the showing up, about the attitudes and these concepts from the sports side. Like these are obviously, you know, translate into life. And what you talked about, like building resilience, right, is our like where we go through that trauma or whatever that thing that sucked, a loss, abuse or something similar. And we learn how it happened. We learn how to address it in the future, and we build self-efficacy, right? Our belief to be able to handle it next time goes up. And so that builds resilience towards that stress in the future. And I think like when people try to always force their environment to be this, I want to make this my own, I want to do this, I'm not going to collaborate, I'm not going to whatever, this is how I show up. They don't even, like they get tough in the wrong ways, right? But they don't actually build resilience to the actual stressors they're trying to address. And like when Eric, right, he was our leader there, he did so much work on making all of us better at our jobs and also putting us in positions to be highlighted because he looks good. Whenever his Marines got rewarded, whenever his Marine ran a 300 PFT or shot perfect on the range or went into a field exercise and, you know, got the SATCOM up in a way and no one had to worry about our unit and we were, you know, walking on water, he looks good. But if he went out there and tried to do it all himself and said, well, I'm the subject matter expert, it's like, no, he knows how to do it all. But, you know,
well, I have a team of guys, but I'm going to show you how to do it.
Right. And that is like, one, you're not helping anybody in your team become better.
And also your team doesn't want to work harder for you. Yeah. Because no matter what they do, you're going to step out when it comes time and go, okay, this is me, and I'm going to give you an example of this, or I'm going to demonstrate this. Well, there's 4 guys in this team that could make that demonstration better, more proficient, look better, because they do it all the time.
When you got to think of it, the intentionality, right? him as a leader showed up to add value to our lives, and he benefited because of it, maybe even selfishly. But if he showed up like, I'm going to help these guys because I know this will help me too, we all still benefited, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can have some level of selfishness in being selfless.
Right. But his intentionality and how he showed up was to help us. Right.
Yeah.
For like to grow us as Marines and as that unit to be the best, version of our comm unit that we were. And then going back to, if I'm in the room, or like how Mike did this with Trevor, if I'm in here and I've been going to Onyx and watching Corey's conditioning because I want to see, what he's feeling and thinking, or like observing him when he's in the deepest, darkest hole of his conditioning, right, at times. And Trevor's saying things that are related to mental coaching and sports psychology, even things that I might say close to verbatim, something I've said to Corey. But if I sit there and go like, but I'm the mental coach, I'm the guy, I'm supposed to be like.
He just heard me say that.
Why isn't he giving me? It's like, why am I there?
Yeah.
Am I there so that Corey praises me and likes me?
Right.
Right. Part of my ego. All of our egos want that.
Sure.
A little bit. But like remind yourself as a coach often in these positions or as a leader to be like, what does he need right now? That's giving him what he needs. I would take away if my ego gets involved, with my pride. And it's like, let him do it, because that's his coach who's going to be in his corner telling him those things. Please say what I'm saying.
Well, and at the
please do the things.
And at the same time, if you're constantly needing praise for doing your job, you become part of the problem during camp because you're taking energy away. And the praise is, there's another camp, and Corey calls and says, hey, we're starting camp.
Yeah.
Let's get together and figure it out. What does that mean? That means that he truly values the input that you give him, because as an athlete of that caliber, everything costs.
Yeah.
Everything costs. And camps are usually paid in advance. Or as part of the perks.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes your strength and conditioning coach is not going to wait.
Nutritionist,
hey guys,
per session,
after this fight, I'm going to get you back for that.
Yeah,
everything on that athlete is an expense because they are a business.
Yep,
and they have to look around and go, are the things that I'm spending my money on making it so that I can also earn more money?
Right.
Yeah.
Or am I dragging a buddy along and keeping him on the payroll? Because
is this entourage or is this a fight camp?
Right.
Do we have buddies that we're just bringing along? Or
and
is
if that athlete, when they sign a contract and that athlete calls those specific people, I mean, I'm breaking it down to a very simplistic explanation.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that's the feedback.
Right. If I get offered a fight and I turn and I call this guy, and this guy, but I don't call you, you didn't bring value to me last time, so it just doesn't. Dollars to donuts doesn't do it.
And I don't even take
it's donuts.
Yeah,
I'll just take the donuts.
I like donuts.
That is one of the hardest things, and you guys run into coaches all the time. You give a lot of free time, right? You try to not to. You try to have those boundaries and develop people and stuff like that. But as people who who want to be coaches, who are empathetic and who are doing it for the right reasons, right? You're kind of, what am I trying to say here? When you bring your ego into it and you stop trying to serve the needs of your athletes, you're going to see them start to fail. And then are you willing to blame yourself for that?
Right.
Are you willing to take the accountability because you're like, man, I cared more about this person liking me than I cared about them winning their fight?
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes too, I know Mike is horribly guilty of giving himself away constantly.
I've done a lot of free work.
Yeah. Mike, my last fight was in 2015.
Right.
And Mike was my coach my entire fight career. So that's how long that we've been connected and close to each other. And I've watched Mike go through 9 or 10 times of he's given himself away for free so that he's just burnt.
Yeah.
And he'll pause and he'll say, you know what? I'm going to peel it back. I'm only going to work with, these athletes so that I can give them the focus of my time. And it works for about 3 months.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Or less. And
Good
then there's that puppy dog at the gym. And he's like, you know what? I'm just this guy. I'm just going to help this guy for free.
Yes.
I know he can't even afford a camp much. I mean,
and I can't blame him either. And about choosing certain coaches because of a monetary thing, especially me, sports psychology has always been seen as like it's an extra thing. It
Right.
still is seen as extra,
Sure.
and that makes sense though, because like if I'm
That's a
talking,
luxury.
if I'm talking to an amateur fighter, right, and the first coaches they need are at least their striking, their grappling coaches, right?
Yep.
And if they need to put money towards their nutritionist versus me, it's like I
Making weight,
understand-
knowing how to grapple, knowing how to fight,
Right.
comes way before going, I understand why I'm here.
Well, I'd argue though that it's all together though. Like if
No, it
you
is.
can't do it
But
without
if-
it.
But
yeah.
if you're,
but if they're gonna pick
there's
things
this,
and prioritize,
if there's
yeah.
this much budget,
Yeah, yep. And there's ways like, right, one of the things like, that's why Corey and I made that course. That was our intentionality there. Is like, we see these amateurs who are like, rather than having like, you know, I have a rate and I have a cost. And so like per camp, it can look a certain way, or per session, it can look a certain way. And, you know, I have a practice and I don't want to like, I can reduce the amount so much, I can help people so much, but there's a point at which like, you know, I got to eat. I got to, you know, I have my own rent, I have my things, but like, I don't want to feel that way, right? I don't
you
want to
can't
feel
pay
like,
your rent with exposure, with social media shout outs from amateur athletes.
No. If only.
Dang it.
But I wish I could.
I was
because
going to hire you.
I wish I could work with as many people as possible, right? And give as much value. And so like making a course like that, or like my intention, right? I'm writing this, I want to write this book to give it as a way to be like, here's a foundation at least,
Right.
to start building your mental game and understanding why these things matter, how you show up, how you plan, how you goal set, how you think about it, how you have this self-awareness. And that way they don't have this, like, they can pick that up. And to me, it's like a resource that it would be a resource that they can use for a while and get success with. And
Right.
then they get to a point where like, now I need more of a coach,
right.
because I've gotten to this level and I can now afford it, or I see the value in this and I can balance these
Sure.
things out. Cause I'll do stuff with people where like, if they only can afford X, Y, Z, you know, you make it work for them, you give them as much as possible. But just like any practice though, I don't need to see someone every week, but they need to do this stuff every
Right.
week.
There has to be,
Yeah.
there has to be work.
I need to know that like you're doing it consistently, like anything, like behavioral change. Like we were talking about jujitsu. You can't take one class and learn everything. It's a practice. You can understand how to do an Americana and even do it, but like, can you do it against a restricted opponent who is resisting, who is a trained resisting
Who's
opponent?
also not
Right.
setting you up for something.
Right, not giving you anything and doesn't and understands exactly what you're doing, right? So like there's a level of like, do you want to do it to that person? Or like I say to my students, I'm not training you to beat white belts. I'm training you to beat black belts. Because if you can beat black belts, every other untrained person, white belt in the world isn't a threat. But
Right.
like I want you to learn the technique in a way to beat a trained, experienced opponent, because that will give you the most value when you have
Because
to
you
dumb it
also
down.
don't, on the street, people don't wear belts.
No. Well, I hope some people wear belts.
Yeah, but
Just
not,
not their ranked jujitsu.
right. And that's, I mean, because, you know, the old adage of an average blue belt can eat, you know, Joe Schmo off the street 9 times out of 10. Well,
All blue belts would like you to think that.
right, but I mean, I will give some to that. You know, if you take a moderately well trained blue belt and put him in a situation with a you know, I'm undefeated in the streets,
Yeah, knowing a little bit more than someone else, yeah.
they're going to be able to manage it. But in this day and age, everybody trains something.
Right? Yeah.
So
Zuckerberg's out there talking about it.
just
every
because
celebrity.
you are in the street going, all right, I train, I can handle this, doesn't mean you can, because the goofy guy over in the corner that you decided was going to be a problem is the guy that's going to choke your eyebrows off, and you don't even know why.
Yep.
You just got to start. I gotta make my cauliflower more pronounced on this side so people can
Oh,
see
you
that.
got to balance this shit, bro. You got to balance it.
No, mine says I only have it on this side.
Oh no, you
No
got
way. I don't need that.
Mine's not. I think mine's got flat. Mine's flat, thankfully, because I taped it to my own head for like a week, and then my other side is just filled.
So
Mine is even because I'm equally bad from both sides.
I'm because I always drive and pass on this side, but it was a headlock. I popped my head out of my ear, just popped into a balloon. That happened.
Yeah, I got my ass handed to me for like the first 2 years of jiu-jitsu, and I stuck my head into every danger hole there was. And so most of this is from dragging my head out
Yeah,
of
that's how.
the
Yeah. I feel like you get it
Yours
most.
up quick too, boy.
This one is a 100% Lucas, Coach Lucas Diaz. He came from Brazil straight to the gym we were teaching at, from a Brazilian gym where they just hammered the shit out of each other all day. and we did a drill where you were sitting in the dead spot, and the person on top was supposed to give simulated strikes so that you had to figure out how to get up. And
He didn't give
Coach
us the-
Diaz doesn't know. He didn't understand.
What,
He
simulated?
understood 0% and 100%. There was no variation in between. So I'm stuck in the dead spot, and he is just hammering, boom, boom, boom. And this year just,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess that's going to
stuff
be
hurt.
that one.
Cauliflower hurts.
I would hate to get it. I got it from like grinding a head out, but like when guys get it from striking, when you take a strike like flush to your ear and you see their ear just, like,
Or-
I feel like that would be
Or
worse.
25 of them.
In a row, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I
you
think
already
it all
have
just
cauliflower ear
hurts.
from grappling, you keep getting hit by
Yeah.
it.
It even hurts if somebody just looks at it.
Right.
When they're just like,
Until
oh,
it's
I
like
got
this, then
terrible
it doesn't
headaches.
matter.
When mine was bad and filled, I got like headaches from it.
Did you get the cherry tomatoes?
Yeah, it was like a big. I had a friend. A friend of mine is a nurse, and she was draining it. She was like, "Yeah, let me drain that every day," because she was into that. She was like sticking a needle and just sucking the. You see it sink back down.
I have 2 videos.
Oh, gee.
We probably can't play them.
Yeah.
One video is Howie Spratt, who's a black belt that I trained with for a very long time. His wife is a nurse. And so she brought like a catheter over and drained it through the, and it was, I mean, obviously she's used to poking. Well, after so many times, I just bought needles. I'm like, babe,
Start pulling.
you're going to have to figure this out. And the very first time she went and she tried to push through the cartilage in the front and freaked out and like pulled back and
shot
shit.
out.
No.
Oh.
The dart stuck buried in the top of my foot.
At least it was your own blood and wasn't somebody
Right.
else.
Did
it
Somebody
hurt?
else.
Oh, dude, well, it hurt. But the panic of the whole situation, when we looked down and it's just,
It's like a dart.
yeah, it stuck straight in my foot. Straight, and we're both like, and she's like, I don't think I can ever do that. I said, fuck that, get another needle. We're doing it now. I can't
do it
have you
now.
scared now. Yeah, so she drained my ears for a long time, or else they would look
bad.
real bad.
It'd be closed up.
Yeah.
They would give you a reason not to hear nothing.
I can't hear it anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
I hate headphones. It's like I got to get like a smaller little ear thing on this side, and this side's big. And it's
Oh,
like
the
different
memory
size.
foam tips.
I was looking at those. Yeah.
I'll give you. I have some upstairs. I'll give you
I'll
some to
take
try
'em.
on the way out the door. It's the only way I can wear in ears.
Because yeah, all the other ones they pop out. It's too small. It's the rubber, or it like clogs.
And are you not jealous of people that can get on a treadmill with in ears?
It never falls out.
And they're all. "Did you-
This
did
one
you-
just like falls out when I'm running. I'm always pushing it back in.
Oh, this one they fall. I put them in and I take a step and they fall out.
I wish I was comfortable like some people who run with the over-ear headphones. I feel like I would just like my face would break out with like the headphones sitting on that spot.
yeah.
And you're
I
sweating
use the overhead earphones now.
for running.
Oh yeah, way better.
If it's colder, sure. But
way better.
I can only wear 'em.
I mean, I take them off right away though. I don't normally after.
I don't
I'm
walk
done.
around after and hang out.
No, but there are some people that leave
Just
them on. I'm
headphone.
just like, no, just take them off right away. As soon as I'm done running, I take them off.
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of like training. Go home and
Yeah.
shower right away. Take your
Yeah,
gear
just
off.
take 'em
Don't
right
wear
off.
it for an hour.
Do you guys shower after?
Oh gosh,
Yes.
there's some
Always.
Do you guys like wash your geese and everything?
No, you don't wash your geese.
Okay.
You just shower.
Just want to make sure. If it doesn't smell like cat piss, it's
to
not a real
remind,
geese.
to remind students, like your belt does get dirty too. There's no magic in it.
No,
Please wash your belt.
You cannot wash the skill out of it. I
No,
promise.
if anything, if you, I would tell students, hey, if you want your belt to look salty, like you've been training a while, wash your
Wash it.
belt. It'll fade faster.
Some people don't.
Or the old adage: if a stripe fell off, you had to re-earn it, so no one washed their belts. So then I'm like, it's a piece of tape, bro. Watch.
I redid my own stripe. I tell students all the time when they're like, Coach, can you put my stripe fell off? Can you put it back on? I was like, it's your stripe. You put it back on.
You earned.
I've redid my stripes on my belt all the time when I was like a blue belt.
Sure.
I didn't get stripes as purple because my professor is like, we don't do stripes anymore. I'm like, okay.
You'll know when we call your name.
Yeah, you'll just get one day you'll be this next belt.
Right.
Very old school, yeah.
easy enough.
Yeah, that's. I loved it when people like their stripes would be hanging on by like the smallest thread of it, and I'm like, dude, just grab some tape.
And just put it back on.
One of my big mentors in jiu-jitsu, Professor Curtis Hill, he lives in San Antonio now, but he was at high altitude for a very, very long time. I mean, a lot of people in the Denver area like know him, but he had obviously his old black belt that was the white showing underneath.
Yeah.
And he had this stripe. I'd always be like, you want me to like redo those stripes so they look nice? And he was just like, I guess. But it would be like he had like four stripes and half of them are falling off of his belt. And he was just like, It's belt. Like
they're just going to do it
It's
again.
just going to keep falling off. He's like, I know what rank
repeating
I am.
the same activity.
Same stuff.
Yeah. That's funny.
I did have one more question
Oh yeah.
about what do you think the effects of after the fight, as far as how it affects the fighters? Because I've seen fighters that after the fight, there's like a depression.
Dude, wind depression. Wind depression
You know
is
what I mean?
worse
It's
than
like
lose
it's
depression.
It's like a depression of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people say like, I don't have anything to work for no right now. Like it's like I have no
lost that
sense of
drive.
belonging.
I don't have a contract.
Like I don't have a sense of belonging. How do you like what's your like?
So I mean, there's a few things going on, right? The first thing I actually learned about this before I ever like studied sports psych, which was, so I spent a time trying to be like a professional level, like get paid to run, right? I did a decade of my life where I really dedicated to running. I wanted to run ultra marathons and stuff. I was running marathons at the time, and what? You're like looking me up and down. Not skinny. I'm not skinny enough for you.
You're saying disgusting words.
Running a marathon?
Oh, running marathon
On purpose?
On purpose.
The way you're checking me out, you're like, are you thin enough? For us?
No, I was thinking everything you've said now means nothing because you've proven.
That I'm insane because I run.
Yes.
But after like a race, especially after like you training for a race is like, it's like any camp. You have a build up to it and it's a single event, right? You're not going to all these like week after week. And during that time, one, you have to look at like your identity becomes that training cycle. Everything you do from day to day, you're thinking about your training, even if you're in
Your
a full-time
diet
job.
is part of your
Right.
training.
Yeah.
I can't eat that because this.
Right. I mean, I was in grad school and I would have class at 8, but I had to do 2 runs that day. I couldn't run at noon. So I'm like, I have to get up at 4 a.m. to run this run. And then at night I have to run this. So like
Yeah,
everything
you lost me a long time ago.
you have to do morning grappling training and then you have to go do striking training at night. So you have to work your, like, especially the athletes who aren't at that professional level, right? So like where they can just train, like there's a gift to that, right? You could even go back and argue and even counterpoint to a lot of what I was saying about the showing up part where it's like, yeah, when you have the means and you only train and this is your full-time job, sure. It's probably a lot easier to have that attitude when you show up.
Sure.
But back to like, their identity is so tied into their camp and like their training. And so like the moment all that stops, win or lose, there's like a void.
What now?
Right. There's also like what I was saying, the physiological part that happens that I learned from the marathon side was I had qualified and ran the Boston Marathon. I was happy with my time. It was one of the first times I ever did it, you know. And I just remember being like, why am I so upset? Like, I feel like afterwards, like I'm depressed about this. And one of my friends like, it's the marathon blues. And I was like, what? And he's like, well, it's like something about like your hormones and whatever. And so when I looked into it, it was like, okay, so your body is dumping all these stress hormones, right? During your camp, you're at higher levels of cortisol, you're higher levels of everything your body is responding to this stress. It's dumping these things in you more so than normal, right? Which means it has to either produce it more, or if it's a fixed ability to produce and your fixed ability to absorb, you're left without that for a little bit, right? All those hormones feel good, feel bad, regardless. And so similar to what we talked about, if you like take something like gabapentin for a while, you can build a tolerance, and then you have to like rebuild your body's ability to get it back. Where they talk about if you take something like ecstasy or whatever, it dumps all of that feel good chemical, and you feel depressed afterwards because you don't have that, and your body has to rebuild that back up.
The Molly depression is real.
So that's what's happening. That's a similar. I won't say it's the exact same, but like it's similar. The hormonal physiological response post fight, win or lose, that depressive feeling is very normal because you've dumped everything that like you don't have as much serotonin as you had before because your body was pumping it into you to keep you going when you were pushing yourself, right? And the fight itself,
your body just knows danger, danger, danger.
Right.
Give it the things.
Yeah. And no matter what you say to any fighter and how they say they're feeling during fight week, you know that every day they're feeling some level of anxiety. Even they'll have dips and they won't and whatever, but they're always going to be way
They'll snap
heightened.
into
it's
it.
the heightened sense, most heightened point of their camp, right? That fight week, all the media, all the travel, the weigh-ins and everything. And then now there's nothing after the fight. And you can like, even if you say that and like in the moment of silence, you're like, oh wow, that feels like a void. Right. And like, they don't necessarily know how to fill it right away. And like for my coaches, my running coaches would say, just go for a run. Like just do this short run. I know that doesn't work for you, but it'd be like, I had 2 different jiu-jitsu athletes who competed a month ago, and I was as a jiu-jitsu coach helping them, but like they came and talked to me afterwards, and they didn't have the result they wanted, and they both said the same thing to me that you just asked, and it was like they both had this like depressive feeling. They I don't understand, and then one of them like 2 weeks later was like, I don't know, I just suddenly feel better, and I want to train again. When I thought I never wanted to train again, I never wanted to do this, and it really just
Sometimes you got to sit in the low.
Right, and it's but what you said is important. It's the self-compassion. You know that when you understand why it's happening, you can be like, I'm not depressed. My body just doesn't have enough chemicals to make me feel the things I should feel, but this will pass.
Well, and even
I'm
if
recovering.
even if you don't know it on an intellectual level like that, you can go, I was doing everything to get to this moment, and everything I put into my whole being, and the moment happened. And now when I wake up tomorrow, there's not a date circled on a calendar. There's not, what do I do?
It's like the feeling like
stop and unpack and allow yourself to feel it. And then,
that's my most like dreadful time of anything that has to, because I live with JJ, so I see most of it. And that's like the most dreadful time of the entire thing. It's just like, because I know win or lose, we're going to go through this
depressive
for a week or two or whatever.
Winner's depression is way worse for me than loser's depression.
Because it's more confusing, right? You're like, I should be happy.
There's a time where I'm just like, hold on, not today. We're happy today. Everything is good today.
It's just weird. Like I can lose and it hurts and you have that sting of it, but it also, there's like a fire.
Right.
You're like, I'm going to fix that problem right now.
Right.
I'm going back to work.
Yeah. But
even if I don't have a date on the calendar, I know how I got beat, and I now have something that I can focus on. Where you win, especially if you win in like dominant style, the other piece of it is coming into fight camp, fight night, everybody wants to be your friend. Everybody's, you get how many texts? How many times does your phone just go crazy that week going in or day of or even that night after you win?
Yeah.
And then the next day, the news cycle is passed for everybody else.
It's kind of like the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like everything, especially if you're like, you did everything on Christmas Day kind of thing. And then the 26th comes in, you're like, nothing's really happening. It's still, maybe there's still snow outside.
Right.
People have lights, but it's like, it's not really Christmas
Well,
anymore.
especially
it just feels empty.
As a parent or a grandparent, because Christmas becomes so like
eventful.
Yeah. And like you're doing this, like the grandkids are going to love this. And like my wife goes in, like she wants holidays for the grandkids to be like core memories of, really awesome things. And then it all happens and normally it goes the way you expect. It's never like a Hallmark movie where everything is great. It's like you get the grandkids the gift that you think would be the greatest and they're like, okay, thank you. And they keep moving.
You wanted some reaction.
Yeah. But then they all go home. And what's she going to do now?
Right.
Yeah.
I guess you start taking down the decorations.
And do you feel tired at the end of those days?
You don't want to know.
No, Trevor has a habit. Family's over. He's had enough. Everybody's still here. And he goes to bed.
But there's the thing. Were you doing a lot of physical exertion?
No.
Did you feel tired though?
I have really, really bad
the crowds,
social anxiety. But also, as much as people don't understand, I'm a very energy empath.
Yeah. You feel people's energy.
So everything that's going on, the kids running around, their excitement, the parents over here feeling uptight because the kids are running around. I'm catching all of it. And my social battery goes.
So what you that part, that's what I wanted to hear, because that's kind of what he's getting at as well, right? As far as like what we've been talking about with your body's tired and you're physically recovering from all this effort, right? But you forgot that your brain is working really, really hard the whole time too. And so that's also why you feel depressed. Sure. That's also why you will actually feel anxiety more. It's like that I call it like, I use a rubber band metaphor. It's like the smaller the rubber band is, the less psychological flexibility you have to handle these stressors that come in. And when you learn ways to like build self-awareness and openness and like look for things that you want, whatever, you expand that rubber band. But there's a point where it gets so filled and taut that you don't have any flexibility to shift. And that's when you start to feel those spikes of anxiety seemingly for no reason. Like, why am I more anxious now than I was, when I was about to fight?
Right.
What the hell? Like, I'm literally anxious about thinking about the gym more than I was about my fight, or I'm more depressed about this even though I won.
After my like competitive jiu-jitsu fighting, everything was over. It's so weird that I longed for the peace of getting in a cage. I longed for the peace of going and putting myself in, danger situations. And the anxiety outside of that is so over. I'm like, last night we went to, there's a thing called the Pirate Festival it's in North Glen.
Okay.
I didn't realize how big the pirate community was. Huge.
Yeah.
So we go there because my wife bought this necklace.
We're not
that she
even close
loved
to a
there.
huge body of water. That's interesting.
Buddy, I heard more.
We're in the middle of the country.
I heard more "arrs"
We're a
last
landlocked
night
state.
than I've heard "shiver me timbers" was going down. But my wife bought this necklace with a key on it from that event like 7 or 8 years ago, and then it broke in the last couple of years. And it popped up again. She's like, "We have to go there because I want to see if I can find." I'm like, "I could just buy you a key necklace,"
Right.
But she wanted to go back and see if the vendors were there and buy one. Dude, we got there. In 5 minutes in, I was like, "I got to go home." But we found the key. Don't worry, problem solved. But the biggest part of it, my battery couldn't take the fact that everyone there is dressed as Jack Sparrow. Like, you don't understand. Not like a little bit of a costume.
They're all in, huh?
85% of the people
Guy
there,
liner and everything.
and the women were dressed as wenches or whatever. But not only that,
I think they go by female pirates now.
not in my world.
You're still wenching.
Yeah. But not only did they dress up,
Yeah.
but they took on the persona. They weren't part of a skit. They weren't
Right.
part of,
They just had their own
Oh,
skit.
they owned it. Yeah.
like, they changed their vernacular. They adopted
That's a
a
lot.
dialect.
I'd have been tired.
And milady was going on.
There was a lot of miladies, a lot of sabers and bowing.
I mean, it was
It
it was overwhelming because they were all so excited to get to fly their freak flag in an environment that celebrated it, that their energy was so big. I was like, I can't take it.
It's like more men in lace than a Prince concert.
Yeah, but it was just the energy was so big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not directed in a way that you could utilize or figure out. It wasn't like, oh, this energy is this, and we need to focus it on that. It was everybody's energy was coming from a different direction. And I was like, by the time we got in the car, I was like, can we just sit here for a minute?
I will tell you that changed for me too. Before, and I won't say it's any specific like event
okay?
or anything.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, Jam. They said Jam's going to be here soon.
Oh,
So we film a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
there's a podcast after us.
Oh, there's
so
another.
well we have a channel.
Team
called
Awesome Podcast Studios.
Yeah. So
I saw the channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there's a few.
So yeah, and we stream like we have a, what is it? What's Jams? God's Guns, or what's Jams is called? God's Guns and
No, that's what it's about. It's redneck.
I don't know.
You want to talk about losing words?
See, well, anyway, he talks about, it's a faith-driven podcast that and he's a 2A guy, and then we do another one with
Hot
a girl,
mess soiree.
yeah, of a girl. She doing first dates and stuff
that's
like
fun.
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
And then Kristen does one called Girl Did You Hear, which
Girl
is
Did-
like girl talk.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I
And
like
they
that.
watch whatever crime documentary goes up on Netflix. So they'll watch it and then they kind of break it down and then talk about, whatever girl topics are going on.
I feel like those are polluting the minds of. No, I'm just kidding. I joke with my girlfriend. I mean, she works in crime and
Right.
she works with the police, and she was an EMT and a firefighter, and so she's worked in high risk her whole life, but like when
how do girls fall asleep to
I'm just like,
napped?
this is why every friend I have as a woman talks about dating like every guy is gonna murder them.
Yeah.
Because they just watch these things about handsome men murdering
All
women.
they do is
and they're
ingest-
like, so every handsome man's a threat to them, but they're like, but I want to date the handsome, but he might murder me, and I don't know why, but I still I just
Will you grab that sticker? It's making me crazy right this second. Jam has stickers here. I got to know what the name was.
Oh, you know,
I'm stuck on a word and
I can't remember the type. It's actually, I remember the
Rebel
word.
Yankee.
I remember, so it's funny, I couldn't remember the word for the word when you forget words. It's aphasia. But it's like, it's a type of aphasia that you have where like you forget, you can't recall that specific word. And there's another one where like, it's called like somatic satiation, where like a word stops making sense to you because you say it all the time.
like if you say the word over and over.
Yeah, and it's somatic satiation.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like you just like don't understand. Your brain starts to like white noise. It just starts to filter it out.
Right.
So, but yeah,
What was I saying? I don't know if it was important or not.
I was fixated on the fact that I couldn't remember.
Oh, that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
The win thing.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
I will go back onto I keep slapping the table and I can hear it. The win part though, I would say the reason why the win is harder with that depression, that state that happens if you don't know why it's happening, is because like in therapy you would call it like an incongruency between how you feel and what you're experiencing. Right? So like you won, so you expect to be elated, you expect to be excited, you expect all these good feelings
notes up.
to come with this outcome.
And that's the thing. Immediately after, when everyone is there and they want to cheer you on, getting the belt wrapped around your waist, like that is it. That's it. And then they all turn and leave. Even if you're still standing in the cage, eventually they'll all leave. The staff will clean the tables and they will turn the lights off.
That happened to JJ in Hawaii when she won her first amateur belt.
Oh, they didn't care. They're like, okay.
Well, because they brought her in to lose.
Yeah.
And she won. And they were taking the cage down as they were putting the belt around her waist. That's how fast.
They were
That's
like,
how much they were done with it.
Yeah.
no, that's how much they were done with their champion not winning.
Oh, yeah.
Hawaii's weird. Like,
They're weird.
if you don't
It was a
win
good
by
time.
knockout, you don't win.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you want to stay and enjoy. Like, you want to bask in it, but
your brain, you've
It
literally
goes.
worked your brain so hard.
Yeah.
Like you got to think about like a stressed parent struggles to show up and be happy for their kids when they have things that you think, man, I should be more excited about stuff or whatever. I'm not assuming you've ever felt that way, but like I'm sure it's a.
I have 4 daughters.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you've probably maybe felt that way, right? So like, and it's like you have stuff going on. You want to show up more for the people in your life, and you can't. Like your brain is being taxed so much. Going back to that conflict spillover, right? Like your brain is being taxed so much from work, from your pursuits, from making money to provide for your family, and then there might be days when you have more stress than others, and you can't be as happy for something that you believe you should be happy for.
Right.
But there's a level of self-awareness and self-compassion that like if you know that happens at the end of your fight, and you know that you always feel this way,
If you can prepare.
Yeah, you have self-efficacy. You have built resilience towards that.
You're
right?
not surprised every time.
Right. You build grit. You call it grit. You call it resilience, right?
Why the hell am I depressed
You're
again?
like, yeah, this is how I feel after my
Right.
fight. I'm going to take my dip and then I'm going to enjoy once I feel better and I'll get back to training.
Yeah.
And I know I'll recover. It's like it's like grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Right.
Or it's like trying to grocery shop when you're not hungry because I can't get myself to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even want
if I'm,
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm not
I
hungry,
could go to
but
the
I
grocery store
have to
hungry or
grocery
not.
shop, right?
Right.
And so I go when I'm hungry and I get too much or I get the things I don't need or something, right?
Or you go when you're not hungry and you're like,
Yeah.
the next day when you're hungry, you're like, not hungry me sucks at the grocery store.
Man, it's all rice and beans.
But yeah. Well,
I think we're going to have to wrap.
yeah, we have to wrap this up for today.
Yeah, that was
We
fun.
could go on for like 4 hours.
Yeah, we could, but we can't. We'll get in trouble.
We got to make Joey a reoccurring guest.
Yeah,
I'll come back on this. Fun.
yeah.
It's a good time.
But
So we're going to wrap. If you were a member, you're going to hear us answer some questions real quick.
yep. And then we're
But
gonna
because
go,
you're not a member,
this is all you're gonna see.
bye.
Bye.